You said Jon Jones called you, and he apologized. What was that
Yeah,
conversation like?
Well, it wasn't a conversation. He reached out. He wrote like a text saying, "Listen, sorry how this all played out or whatever. You know, I want to fight at the White House. I'm serious about that." And just one of those type of.
Has that changed your view?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
So there's no chance he's going to be on
No,
the White
I
House
appreciate it. I appreciate him reaching out and doing that, but I need people I can count on for this fight, and I know who they are. I know who they are not.
Gotcha.
It's not even about him winning the belt. You know how I felt about him. I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong, especially the White House card.
Dana White just dropped an absolute bombshell that has the entire MMA world in shock. Jon Jones, the man many call the GOAT, has done something that nobody saw coming. He apologized to Dana White and is desperately begging for a spot on the historic UFC White House card. But Dana's response? It's going to leave you speechless. This is a story about pride, trust, and why being the greatest fighter might not be enough when you've burned too many bridges. Stay with me because this gets crazy.
You said Jon Jones called you, and he apologized. What was that conversation like?
Well, it wasn't a conversation. He reached out. He wrote like a text saying, "Listen, sorry how this all played out or whatever. You know, I want to fight at the White House. I'm serious about that." And just one of those type of.
Has that changed your view?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
So there's no chance he's going to be on
No,
the White
I
House
appreciate it. I appreciate him reaching out and doing that, but I need people I can count on for this fight, and I know who they are. I know who they are not.
Gotcha.
Let me paint the picture for you. We're talking about the most historic UFC event ever planned. Summer 2026, the White House South Lawn, celebrating America's 250th anniversary. Dana White and President Donald Trump are personally planning this together. This isn't just any fight card. This is global television, under 5,000 exclusive guests, snipers for security, and the entire world watching. The pressure? Astronomical. When this was announced, fighters started scrambling to get on this card. Conor McGregor re-entered drug testing. Bo Nickel got promised a spot by Trump himself. And Jon Jones? He came out of retirement specifically for this event.
Pretty much.
I don't know if you've seen, I know that you essentially had ruled out Jon Jones being a main eventer on that card. He says he's training 5 days a week, Dana. He says he's trying to get on that card. What does Jon Jones have to do to get on a White House card?
Well, Jon Jones doesn't have to train 5 days a week now. The fight isn't until next,
He just looks like he's jazzed up. He's ready, This is a renewed Jon.
He has made it very clear to me that this is what he wants to do. But I need people on this card that I can count on, that no matter what happens, opponents get switched out or whatever happens, I need guys that I can absolutely count on that are going to show up that night. So, listen, I'm not saying no to Jon Jones, and I respect the fact that he's pushing this hard, but Jon Jones and I just had a deal that he pulled out of.
Yeah.
You know, so he's not on the top of my list, even though I say it all the time, you know, he's the greatest of all time. I still know that to be a fact.
You know the comments are going to come after you once again.
He's not the greatest of all time guy you can count on, you know, that you know for 100% is going to be solid and be there.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting. Dana White initially said his dream headline would be Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. The fans wanted it. The media wanted it. Even Trump probably wanted it. So what went wrong? Everything. Here's what really happened behind the scenes. Jon Jones and Dana White had a verbal agreement. Jones would face Tom Aspinall, the fight everyone wanted to see. The undisputed heavyweight title on the line. The GOAT versus the future. But then Jones did what Jones does. He pulled out. Not due to injury. Not due to circumstances beyond his control. He simply decided he didn't want to do it and announced his retirement instead.
The only time that anything remotely weird has ever happened with Jon Jones was the time that his in camp did the weird Chael Sonnen thing. We can't fight Chael Sonnen on short notice. Other than that, and that wasn't him, it was his team, and he listened to his team for whatever reason. But that's like the goofiest fucking move in the history of the UFC. just to talk about that too, when you talk about Jon Jones at that time when that happened, that's the other thing about this sport right now. Not only the fighters are they willing to step up, but the coaches. You know, a lot of these guys go to their coaches and their coaching staff and say, you know, we're being offered this fight on short notice. Jon Jones coaches told him not to do it.
Dana White was furious. And I'm talking about a level of anger we rarely see from the UFC president toward one of his biggest stars. Jones retired in June 2025, vacated the heavyweight belt, and Tom Aspinall became the undisputed champion. Case closed, right? Wrong. The moment, and I mean the moment, President Trump announced the White House UFC card, guess who came crawling back? Jon Jones immediately re-entered USADA drug testing and started training again.
But according to Twitter, apparently, according to Twitter, his Twitter, not general hearsay, Jon Jones has unretired. That is correct. He says that he is now back in the testing pool. Check this out. So, of course, the UFC shares this, and this is very nice of the UFC, Jon Bones Jones, the greatest of all time.
But Dana White wasn't having it. He put Jones's odds of making the card at 1,000,000,000 to 1. That's not Dana being dramatic. That's Dana being done. Now here comes the part that nobody saw coming. Jon Jones, the same man who's never really apologized for anything in his career, sent Dana White a text message. Let me read you exactly what Dana revealed on the Zach Gelb show. He reached out, he wrote like a text saying, listen, sorry how this all played out or whatever. I want to fight at the White House. I'm serious about that.
He says he's trying to get on that card. What does Jon Jones have to do to get on a White House card?
Well, Jon Jones doesn't have to train 5 days a week now. The fight isn't until next, you know.
He just looks like he's jazzed up. He's ready, you know. This is a renewed Jon.
He has made it very clear to me that this is what he wants to do. But I need people on this card that I can count on, that no matter what happens, opponents get switched out or whatever happens, I need guys that I can absolutely count on that are going to show up that night. So
think about this for a second. Jon Jones, arguably the greatest mixed martial artist ever, is texting apologies to Dana White. This is a man who's headlined countless pay-per-views, made the UFC millions of dollars, and has never shown this level of desperation. But here's Dana's response, and this is where it gets brutal. No. I appreciate it. I appreciate him reaching out and doing that, but I need people I can count on for this fight. I know who they are, and I know who they are not.
Listen, I'm not saying no to Jon Jones, and I respect the fact that he's pushing this hard, but Jon Jones and I just had a deal that he pulled out of.
Yeah.
You know, so he's not on the top of my list, even though I say it all the time, you know, he's the greatest of all time. I still know that to be a fact.
Oh, you know the comments are going to come after you once again.
He's not the greatest of all time guy you can count on, you know, that you know for 100% is going to be solid and be there.
Yeah.
Ouch. Dana just basically said Jon Jones is not someone he can count on. Let that sink in. But wait, it gets even more savage. Dana White didn't just reject the apology. He explained exactly why Jon Jones will never be the guy for big moments. Here's the quote that's going to sting Jones forever. Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. I still know that to be a fact. But he's not the greatest of all time. Guy you can count on that you know 100% is going to be solid and be there. Dana then made a comparison that nobody expected. He said Conor McGregor, who hasn't fought in 4 years and pulled out of UFC 303 with a toe injury, is more reliable than Jon Jones. Say what you want about Conor McGregor, but he is that guy. He's always been that guy. When the Samhain hits the fan, who's really willing to go out there? Conor McGregor has always been that guy.
Who's really willing to go out and Conor McGregor has always been that guy.
So you said Jon's not at the top of your list for that one. You know, maybe don't rule it out, but who is? Can you give us a little bit of?
I just said Conor McGregor.
Conor. So that's
Conor
the main
McGregor
event you want.
has always been that guy. Ronda Rousey too.
Yeah.
Chuck Liddell has always been that. There's a laundry list of people that and a lot of these people that are super talented are almost like dealing with artists. You know,
Yeah,
they have their quirky little things, and
everybody's different in this game, and fighters are always personality completely different. They're going to show up at this point, going to show up 2 hours late. You never know sometimes. So, yeah, absolutely. Now, this White House card, a lot of people are super excited about. Obviously, people are excited about the Noche event as well, going on the same day. But let's say Saturday night ends. Whoever wins this fight, this is going to change the sport of boxing, I feel.
I could not agree with you more.
I think this is going to bring back this, especially here in America, because I've worked with a bunch of different companies in the UK, and that's a big boxing hotbed right now. But America needs boxing, in my opinion, to ascend back to, let's talk about the early 1900s, #1 sport in America, #1 sport in the world.
This is devastating. Dana White is essentially saying he'd rather have an inactive Conor McGregor than the greatest fighter of all time because of trust issues. If this story shocked you as much as it shocked me, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more breaking MMA news. We've got more White House card updates coming, and trust me, this story is far from over. Until next time, keep your guard up and your drama high.
First and foremost, are you retired?
I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week, and I'm in the UFC's drug testing pool.
Great. And what's the status of the fight at the White House?
I don't really know. It's kind of out of my control right now. I'm training for the event. I'll be ready for the event. That's my goal. That's my intention. But ultimately, it's up to the boss.
If I did, Jon Jones would be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
If I did, it would be Ilia Topuria.
Well, there you go. You do it, so good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Dana, over here.
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist Gable Stevenson has been seen recently training with Jon Jones and said himself he plans on joining the UFC. Is that someone you're interested in seeing?
So the question, what did Gable Stevenson and Jon Jones,
been
what?
training with Jon Jones, and he wants to come
okay.
to UFC.
Jon Jones is training? Holy shit. That's news to me. Was he on the reality show in Thailand or something?
Oh, boy.
When you knock on my door, and I say, hello,
boy.
Satan,
Spider webs.
I believe it is time to go. Me and the devil.
Jon Jones has dropped a massive bombshell about his fighting future. Despite Dana White's 1,000,000,000 to 1 odds against him, Bones Jones is declaring he's not retired and is actively training 5 days a week for what could be the most historic UFC event ever. The White House card set for June 2026.
Doing pretty well. Things are going great. The White House. Dana White said, you and Jon Jones, that's a real deal. I'm going home. I'm going to get the head down. I'm going to rest. They're testing me. I'm in the pool. I says, you always say, man, I thought that's what the pools are for, jumping in and out. But I'm back in the pool. So get ready and stay ready, because damage will be done. Oval Office, White House card.
But that's not all. Conor McGregor has also thrown his hat into the ring with a cryptic Twitter post declaring McGregor's return. This raises the burning question. Are we looking at a potential dream card featuring both legendary fighters at the president's residence? Stay tuned as we break down all the explosive details. Let's start with the man who started it all, Jon Jones. Remember, this is the same fighter who announced his retirement just months ago, effectively killing a mega fight with Tom Aspinall that fans had been desperately waiting for. Dana White was not happy about that decision.
You retired, but now it seems like you're getting back into it.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
explain it, break it down for us a little bit?
I was retired. I felt like I was at a place where I've done it all in the MMA space, and felt like there wasn't too many more challenges for me, and I just wanted to do something more than championships and money. And Donald Trump mentioned that he wanted to have a fight at the White House Garden, and that just seems like such a huge opportunity. Just to be able to entertain the country and the world at this level at the White House, it just means the world to me. So I'm back.
But speaking at the MTV VMAs, Jones made his intentions crystal clear. And I quote, "I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week, and I'm in the UFC's drug testing pool." That's right, folks. Jones has re-entered the USADA testing pool, which means he's serious about this comeback.
Jon Jones has unretired. That is correct. He says that he is now back in the testing pool. Check this out. So, of course, the UFC shares this, and this is very nice of the UFC. Jon Bones Jones, the greatest of all time.
When pressed about the White House card specifically, Jones said, "I'm training for the event. I'll be ready for the event. That's my goal. That's my intention, but ultimately it's up to the boss. The boss, of course, being Dana White, and White is not making this easy for Jones."
First and foremost, are you retired?
I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week, and I'm in the UFC's drug testing pool.
Great. And what's the status of the fight at the White House?
I don't really know. It's kind of out of my control right now. I'm training for the event. I'll be ready for the event. That's my goal. That's my intention. But ultimately, it's up to the boss.
The UFC president has set the odds at 1,000,000,000 for Jones appearing on this historic card. Why? Because Jones has burned bridges before, backing out of the Tom Aspinall fight after reportedly agreeing to terms. White doesn't trust Jones with such a massive event, and frankly, can you blame him?
What makes you confident?
What makes me confident? Oh, man. I don't know. Just hard work. Hard work and doing the things that people don't like to do. I think that builds confidence. Repetition builds confidence.
Getting to your level, which is, I want to just say congratulations on everything you've done.
Thank you.
What was the biggest struggle you've dealt with in your career, but that struggle made you who you are today?
The biggest struggle. You know, one thing that I'm learning in life right now is just to say yes to opportunities and not to allow insecurities or fears to hold you back. For example, just 2 days ago on Friday, I got this opportunity to be a presenter in one of the biggest shows in the world. Pretty intimidating opportunity, but I said yes, right? So I think one of the biggest things I'm working on in life right now is just saying yes, facing your fears head on.
What advice would you give to someone who is afraid of facing their fears every single day?
My advice would be to just do it. And oftentimes after it's done, you're going to be so glad that you did. And I do believe the best things in life are usually on the opposite side of hard work and fear.
Jon, thank you so much. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about this unprecedented UFC White House card. Because this isn't just any fight night. We're talking about the most ambitious MMA event in history. Originally scheduled for July 4th, 2026, America's 250th birthday, the event has now been moved up to June 2026, and the details are absolutely mind-blowing. Fighters will warm up inside the White House itself. Ceremonial weigh-ins will take place on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. We're talking about fireworks, light shows, and festivities unlike anything the sport has ever seen.
So every one of our national park, battlefields, and historic sites are going to have special events in honor of America 250. And I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have, does anybody watch UFC, the great Dana White? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not, Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. Going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible events, some professional events, some amateur events, but the UFC fight's going to be a big deal too.
This isn't just about entertainment. This is about history. The UFC has never held an event at the White House, and with America celebrating its 250th anniversary, this card represents the ultimate fusion of American combat sports and patriotic celebration. But here's the catch. Getting on this card isn't just about being a big name. Dana White is being extremely selective because this event will be watched by millions around the world. The stakes couldn't be higher, and that's exactly why Jones's past behavior is coming back to haunt him. Just when you thought this story couldn't get more explosive, enter Conor McGregor. The Irish superstar, who hasn't fought since November 2021, took to Twitter with a simple but powerful message: McGregor's return.
When the fight is going on, while the fight's happening and we're filming, one whole side of the backdrop will be the White House. We will absolutely positively put on the baddest card of all time.
So what would be the dream main event?
The dream main event right now would be Aspinall versus Jones.
Is it possible that McGregor and Jones would fight on the same card?
Could be.
Now, this is huge news because McGregor, unlike Jones, seems to have Dana White's blessing. Earlier reports revealed that McGregor had exchanged direct messages with White about headlining the White House card, and White reportedly loved the idea. Think about it, McGregor might not be American, but he's arguably the biggest draw in UFC history. His return would guarantee massive pay-per-view numbers and global attention for this historic event. Plus, unlike Jones, McGregor hasn't been backing out of agreed fights recently. The question everyone's asking, could we see both McGregor and Jones on the same card? A double main event featuring two of the sport's most controversial yet captivating figures? The possibility has fans around the world losing their minds on social media. But we can't forget about the elephant in the room. Tom Aspinall, the current interim heavyweight champion, has been waiting for his shot at Jones. And this White House situation has put him on high alert.
But undisputed status is disputed. That's where we're at right now.
Well, somebody said an interim champion can't be in the presence of an undisputed champion, and an undisputed champion can't be in the presence of an interim champion.
And that's true.
They both contradict each other completely.
Of course.
So we need to find out who the guy is. If it's not Jon Jones, get out of the way. I'll take the title. I'll fight someone else. Happy days.
Aspinall has been vocal about wanting to unify the heavyweight titles, and with Jones actively training again, those fight negotiations could heat up quickly. If Jones does make it onto the White House card, Aspinall versus Jones would be the perfect co-main event to complement a potential McGregor return. However, Aspinall has his own upcoming title defense against Cyril Gane to worry about first. But make no mistake, he's keeping a close eye on these developments, and his team is surely preparing for the possibility of facing Jones on the biggest stage in UFC history.
Question for Tom. Tom, you were originally supposed to fight Jon Jones for the belt. Now it's Cyril. So my question is simple. Considering that Jones is nearing the end and Cyril is in his prime, who do you consider the biggest test right now?
Cyril's the guy I'm fighting, so he's the biggest test right now. Jon Jones is retired, so I don't really have much to say on that, to be honest. So I'm fighting this guy, and this guy's really good, so I'll be as ready as I can be.
In related news that could impact Jones's White House chances, all charges against him from a February car accident in Albuquerque have been officially dropped. The Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office dismissed the case after Jones's alibi defense held up. Jones released a statement saying, "I want to thank the District Attorney's Office for carefully reviewing the facts and ultimately vindicating me completely. The simple fact is this: I was never there. I never even left my house that night, and all the evidence proved that." Keep it locked here for all the latest updates on this developing story. This is shaping up to be the fight game story of the decade, and we'll be covering every twist and turn as it unfolds. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match.
UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall and his father Andy have just dropped a career-changing message that has the entire MMA community talking. And it's not about his upcoming title defense. The newly crowned undisputed heavyweight king, who claimed his throne after Jon Jones's shocking retirement in June, has his sights set beyond the octagon, and it involves boxing gloves, massive paydays, and a direct challenge to the UFC's pay structure. This is a story about money, power, and a father's bold vision for his son's future. Let's break it all down. The bombshell came during a candid interview on Tom Aspinall's own YouTube channel, where his father and longtime coach Andy Aspinall didn't hold back about their plans. "I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match for the money. The money's there, and I don't see why somebody as talented as Tom shouldn't have a piece of that money when the boxers are getting 100 times more." Andy Aspinall.
The money. I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match. For the money. You know, the money's there, and I don't see why somebody as talented as Tom shouldn't have a piece of that money when the boxers are getting 100 times more than 100 times more.
But here's where it gets even more explosive. Andy Aspinall took direct aim at the UFC's compensation structure, stating bluntly, "The UFC ain't paying that type of money."
The UFC ain't paying that type of money.
This isn't just wishful thinking from a proud father. This is a calculated business statement from the man who's coached Tom since he was a child and helped guide him to the pinnacle of mixed martial arts. The timing couldn't be more significant. Tom Aspinall is set to make his first undisputed title defense against Cyril Gane at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi on October 25th. But even with championship gold around his waist, his camp is already looking beyond the octagon for what they see as the real money.
All right, now, UFC 321, October 25th, Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. Tom Aspinall will face Cyril Gane. Aspinall has 15 wins, and all of them are by finish. Gane is the #1 ranked heavyweight. You can go to tickets go on sale this Friday.
Let's talk numbers, because that's what this is really about. Andy Aspinall didn't mince words when describing the financial disparity between boxing and MMA. According to Andy, boxers are earning more than 100 times more than UFC fighters. To put this in perspective, while top UFC champions might earn millions per fight, boxing's biggest stars regularly command $20 to $50 million purses, sometimes even more. Francis Ngannou proved this point when he left the UFC heavyweight championship behind to pursue boxing riches, reportedly earning around $10 million for his debut against Tyson Fury, potentially more than he made in his entire UFC career.
So what was the holdup with the UFC? Like, what led you to not sign?
There was a lot of frustration over the years. I think since my fight against Stipe, my first fight against Stipe, my relation with the UFC had never been the same.
Really?
I felt like I wasn't in the right place. Then I get the Derek Lewis fight, who was like the worst fight, and that didn't hurt me at all.
You win the Cyril Gane fight. Then what happened?
I have no guarantee that signing this contract, I will not get into what I have been to in the past 3 years. So how about we change something that will make me feel secure?
And what did you want to change?
A lot of things.
But here's the kicker. Andy Aspinall revealed something shocking about his son's current earnings compared to other athletes. An American footballer. He's earning a tiny fraction of what they're earning, and he's one of the best in the world at doing what he does and not getting paid enough.
An American footballer who we've talked to when we've been in America, he's earning a tiny fraction of what they're earning. And he's one of the best in the world at doing what he does and not getting paid enough.
This raises serious questions about fighter pay in the UFC, especially when we're talking about the heavyweight champion of the world potentially being out-earned by mid-tier American football players. This isn't just talk. The Aspinalls have a strategic plan mapped out. Andy outlined a clear timeline for his son's immediate future that could set up a massive boxing payday. October 2025, UFC 321 versus Cyril Gane in Abu Dhabi.
Tom Aspinall will face Cyril Gane. Aspinall has 15 wins, and all of them are by finish. Gane is the #1 ranked heavyweight. UFC 321, October 25th, Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi.
Andy's ultimate goal, simple and direct. Get the money, get the glory, and get out, with Tom's health intact. The strategy is reminiscent of what we've seen with other MMA stars. Conor McGregor proved the crossover model works with his massive payday against Floyd Mayweather. Francis Ngannou followed suit by leaving the UFC to pursue boxing riches. But here's what makes Aspinall different. He's doing this as the reigning champion, not after losing or being stripped of his title. That gives him incredible leverage. So, who could Tom Aspinall potentially face in the boxing ring? The heavyweight division is currently dominated by unified champion Oleksandr Usyk, who holds all 4 major titles after his victories over Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury.
Alexander Usyk putting on the performance of a lifetime. Let's buckle the legs. Buckle the legs. The champ is in real trouble here.
So much. No.
Usyk trying to send shockwaves throughout the heavyweight.
Not give one shot, or not take one shot, but he has to give.
Interestingly, Usyk has previously expressed interest in trying MMA, which could set up the ultimate two-sport crossover. Aspinall boxing Usyk, then Usyk entering the octagon. Other potential opponents could include Tyson Fury, if he returns from retirement, Anthony Joshua, looking to rebuild, Deontay Wilder, always a knockout threat. The appeal for boxing promoters is obvious. Aspinall brings legitimate knockout power and an undefeated record as UFC champion. His highlight reel of 1-minute knockouts proves he has the finishing ability that boxing fans crave. This puts the UFC in a difficult position. They've just crowned a new heavyweight champion after Jon Jones' retirement, and now his team is already publicly discussing an exit strategy.
The problem for Tom Aspinall a lot of the time was not only finding trade. Oh! What a finish!
That's it!
Wow!
Knockout for Tom Aspinall in his debut! Got ourselves a prospect.
Beautiful. Knee to the midsection. Bang, bang. 1-2 follows right on the chin. He just did not stand a chance. As soon as that knee landed. Bang, right into the midsection on 1-2. Very nice. And he measured the right hand early as well.
Dana White and the UFC brass have historically been resistant to allowing their biggest stars to pursue boxing while under contract. But the Aspinalls aren't asking for permission. They're making a statement about fair compensation. The broader implications are massive for the sport. If the reigning heavyweight champion can't be adequately compensated by the world's premier MMA organization, what does that say about the entire fighter pay structure? This could be the catalyst for significant changes in how the UFC approaches compensation for its biggest stars, especially champions who have proven their drawing power. Tom Aspinall's father has thrown down the gauntlet, not just to potential boxing opponents, but to the UFC itself. The message is clear: pay your champions what they're worth, or risk losing them to boxing's lucrative landscape. With Aspinall set to defend his title in just 7 weeks against Cyril Gane, all eyes will be on Abu Dhabi. But the real question isn't just whether he'll win, it's whether this victory will be his last in the octagon before pursuing those boxing millions. Will the UFC step up with a mega deal to keep their heavyweight champion, or will we witness another exodus of top talent to the boxing world? One thing's for certain: Andy Aspinall's bombshell has changed the conversation around fighter pay and career strategy in combat sports forever. We'll continue following this developing story. For now, this has been your Combat Sports Update. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
But Tom's gigantic as well. He's big, he's light on his feet, he can move. I always say he's like a heavyweight Muhammad Ali, or mixed martial arts Muhammad Ali, or a heavyweight George St. Pierre. He can grapple, he can do it all. And we saw what happened against with Cyril Gane against Jon Jones. So more than likely, I mean, I heavily lean towards Tom Aspinall in this fight, but it's mixed martial arts. If Cyril can stop the takedowns, then this gets very interesting.
UFC legend Michael Bisping just dropped a bombshell comparison that has the entire MMA world talking. The former middleweight champion just called Tom Aspinall the Muhammad Ali of MMA. And if that wasn't enough of a warning shot to Cyril Gane, wait until you see what Aspinall just did to a heavy bag in training that has everyone terrified.
But he's the same height as me, if not an inch taller, but thick.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, you're a lot thicker than I would expect.
Yeah.
And the speed.
Yeah,
that's the thing that I'm like, okay, that's the danger. But again, grappling, he's a black belt. But John is fucking...
That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. They got to fight. But if they don't ever fight, we'll never know.
Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. No, Jon Jones is the GOAT in my book. You know, he's one of the best. And I recently saw Aspinall fight for the first time recently. And he's a great fighter. And he's a great champion. But I think it'd be tough for me to ever say that anybody would beat Jon Jones until it happens.
It's a very intriguing fight. If I had to put money on it, it'd be super hard for me to bet against a guy like Jones, just because I know the mindset that he comes in with. Not saying Aspinall couldn't get it done because of all those physical gifts that he had, but dog, betting against a guy like that,
Yeah.
if he gets you on the ground, that's just a bad night.
Why Michael Bisping's stunning praise for Tom Aspinall might be the most accurate comparison in combat sports history, and why Cyril Gane should be very, very worried about UFC 321. Let's get straight to the explosive quote that has everyone talking. Michael Bisping, a man who grinded his way to the top of the middleweight division and knows what separates legends from pretenders, just made this incredible statement about Tom Aspinall. Here's exactly what Bisping told Bloody Elbow, and I quote, "Tom's gigantic as well. He's big and light on his feet. He can move. I always say he's like an MMA Muhammad Ali or a heavyweight Georges St. Pierre. He can grapple. He can do it all. I heavily lean towards Tom Aspinall in this fight."
But Tom's gigantic as well. He's big, he's light on his feet, he can move. I always say he's like a heavyweight Muhammad Ali, or mixed martial arts Muhammad Ali, or a heavyweight George St. Pierre. He can grapple, he can do it all. And we saw what happened against with Cyril Gane against Jon Jones. So more than likely, I mean, I heavily lean towards Tom Aspinall in this fight, but it's mixed martial arts. If Cyril can stop the takedowns, then this gets very interesting.
Now, when a UFC legend compares someone to Muhammad Ali, you listen. This isn't just about footwork. Ali revolutionized boxing by moving like a dancer while hitting like a truck. Aspinall is doing the exact same thing in MMA. We're talking about a 6' 5" heavyweight who moves like he's fighting at middleweight. The Ali comparison goes deeper than just movement, though. Both fighters possess that rare combination of physical gifts and mental sharpness. Ali could outthink opponents just as easily as he could outbox them. Aspinall shows similar fight IQ, reading opponents and striking at the perfect moment.
Watch this hand. He constantly distracts you with the lead hand. So he's keeping you busy with this before he starts to turn and starts to do these kicks. This comes first, is the front hand. Look how he just pulls it out before he does anything. And he does that every time he occupies the front hand and then works his attacks off it, which is high level fight IQ stuff from Jon Jones. But he's one of the smartest fighters ever.